Hi everyone, my name is Rainer, this is Radio Books, welcome to BookTube. I'm a German booktuber living in Sweden, talking mostly about books, written in English or translated into English. Today I want to present you a wrap-up of the week that lies behind us, of the reading that I had, of the reading that I plan for the next week, and of the things that have happened in the world. And actually there's a lot about awards this week because the National Book Award presented its finalists, the Scotiabank Giller Prize presented the shortlist, and the Nobel Committee in Stockholm, Sweden presented the Nobel laureate, the winner of 2021. So let's get started. First, let's start with a reading that I had last week, and it was about good. I finished one book, and that is Nomadland by Jessica Bruder, Surviving America in the 21st, I think that's the title, Surviving America in the 21st Century. I'm going to do a single review about this excellent nonfiction work. I have seen the movie. The poster is here on my wall with Frances McDormand, directed by Chloe Zhang. And after that, I wanted to read the book that it's based upon. It has some differences. I'm going to talk about that too in my single review, which comes next week. This is great stuff about a new subculture in the United States, about the tens of thousands of nomads who are not having a home, but who are not having a house, but who are having a home in their RVs and their trucks and their vans and traveling across the US after they retired because they cannot afford to retire. More about that later on this week. I started a second book this week and I have to finish it. Really, I have to finish it this week as well. And I'm looking forward to do that. And this is by one of my favorite authors. This is by Rachel Kushner, and this is called The Heart Crowd, Essays from 2000 to 2020 that Rachel Kushner has written. I have started the first one, which is called, I'm almost through with the first one actually, which is called The Girl on the Motorcycle, which is Rachel Kushner, but which is also a title of a movie, of a French British movie with Alain Delon. This is a very interesting story already, a very interesting essay, and it reminds me a lot of the great Joan Didion, what Rachel Kushner is writing. She's not only a great author for fiction, she's also a great author for nonfiction. Very much looking forward to that. I will also do a single review about The Heart Crowd when I finished it. And I continue reading The Other Black Girl by Zakya, Dalila, Harris, and this is really started really good, really funny in the first 2 chapters. I have to read more, of course, of this book. Now, let's get to the awards. There happened so much on the award front last week. I don't know if you're following them all, if you're following the National Book Award, if you're following the Scotiabank Giller Prize, and if you're following the Nobel Prize. Most people on BookTube seem to follow the Booker Prize. There's so many reviews, so many channels dedicated to the Booker. Little less focus on the National Book Award in the United States, which is designated to present a winner of Best American Fiction of 2021. The shortlist was published on Tuesday, and let's take a look at that. The shortlist of the National Book Award is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, published by Scribner, a book that is playing on 3 different time levels, really from the medieval period to the present and to the future in space. The second one is Matrix by Lauren Groff, a feminist book about Marie de France, who comes to the United Kingdom to be the leader, the what's it called, abbess of a nun of a monastery there. The third one is Zorrie by Laird, published by Bloomsbury, a book that covers the story of a woman from the Great Depression onwards, a couple of decades. The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. is on the shortlist, published by G.P. Putnam's Sons. A lot of people have liked this book very much. This is a story of slavery and of several men who get together in different kinds of relationships. And the fifth one is the surprise one, Hell of a Book by Jason Mott, published by Dutton. This one goes about a writer who is traveling through the United States, I think promoting a book that is called Hell of a Book. A book within a book. Sounds like Shakespeare's very famous A Play Within a Play. So who's going to win that National Book Award? I mean, last year we got a surprise by Charles Yu and Interior Chinatown. You never know what the juries are going to pick. But the big name, I think the super duper favorite, might be Matrix by Lauren Groff, because she is such a great writer. Many people regard her as one of the great voices of American literature. So she should have a chance of winning the prize for the first time, since she has not won big awards yet. Doerr won the Pulitzer. But there, you never know. It could be a surprise by Zorrie or by Hell of a Book. You never know. I think they will go for a different book that last year, which would put Hell of a Book not in the favorite zone. So probably it's a very open race between the four other titles. It was a big surprise that Richard Powers' novel Bewilderment didn't end up on the shortlist. The Scotiabank Giller Prize in Canada did publish the shortlist as well on the same Tuesday, and they have nominated Omar Akkad for What Strange Paradise, Angelique Lalonde for Glorious Frazzled Beings, which is a short story collection, Cheluchi Onyemelukwe-Onuobia for her novel The Son of the House, Jordan Tannahill for The Listeners, and Miriam Toews for Fight Night. These are the 5 titles from the Scotiabank Giller Prize. Omar Akkad is an author that is already known after his first novel, American War. What Strange Paradise is a novel about a refugee boy from Syria coming to an island in Europe where he meets a girl, and the two children sort of take care of each other. Very interesting relationship between the two. Lalonde's short story collection, Glorious Frazzled Beings, is dealing a lot with, I think, as I understand it, magical realism. Whereas The Son of the House by Cheluchi Onyemelukwe-Onuobia is not only nominated for the Scotiabank Giller Prize of 2021, it's also nominated for the Nigerian Prize of Literature in the same year. The Son of the House is the novel about 2 women from different backgrounds, one from poor, one from rich background, who get kidnapped in Nigeria and spend time together in a very dark room, and their relationship and what they are telling each other is sort of the contents of that book. Jordan Tannahill's novel, The Listeners, is about people who listen, who can hear a strange sound that nobody else can hear in the beginning, but then more and more people listen to this sound that is changing the world. So it seems also a little bit supernatural. And then we have Miriam Toews for her novel Fight Night, published by Knopf in Canada. Very difficult to say who wins here. Toews, of course, would be a favorite. I think also Omar Akkad is a pretty known name after his first novel. Lalonde with her short stories, I don't think so, because last year they awarded already a short story to the winner, Suvakam Tamavangsa, and her short story collection, How to Pronounce Knife. So I would go for, my guess is, but I'm just guessing, we have Zulika Reed Banta in the jury. She's the head of the jury. And we have Tash Aw, the great Malaysian writer. So from the little things that I've read of Tash Aw and Zulika Reed Banta, I would guess that it could be Jordan Tannahill's novel The Listeners that wins it this year. That is my guess. I haven't read any of those books. I am waiting for The Son of the House from the library. But now, what are your guesses for the NBA, for the National Book Award? And what is your guess for the Scotiabank Giller Prize? Who should win it? Let's get to the Nobel Prize for Literature of 2021. On Thursday this week at 1 p.m. local time in Stockholm, Sweden, not very far away from here, only 20-25 minutes by public transport, the committee announced the winner. The door opens of the Nobel. They always sit behind closed doors, and then outside the press is waiting, the media is waiting. And then the door opens, and a very honest-looking, serious-looking Swedish guy steps out of the door. The leader of the committee, the secretary of the committee, and he pronounces the name of the winner. And he said, "This year's Nobel Prize for Literature will be awarded to Abdulrazak Gurnah from Zanzibar/Tanzania/UK." And the world said, "Finally!" And a lot of people said, "Who won the prize?" I looked Abdulrazak Gurnah up. He's 73 years old. He has been once on the shortlist of the Booker Prize 17 years ago for his novel Paradiuse. I don't know who have read that. Please, in the comment down below, all your experiences in reading Abdulrazak Gurnah. He has written a book called Afterlives that was published last year, and he has written a novel called Gravel Heart 4 years ago, published, and he always works with, like the Nobel Committee said, he gets the prize for his uncompromising and compassionate penetration of the effects of colonialism and the fate of the refugee in the gulf between cultures and continents. The world was super surprised. That I can tell you. But since the jury had gotten a lot of critique for being Euro and America-centered and even preferring white authors, it had to come up with a scoop this year. The names of the nominees, it had to come up with a scoop this year. I looked up the last 20 years of winners of the Nobel Prize for Literature. And there I found that we have 13 men and 7 women. 16 of the 20 people are white, or were white, 3 Asian and 1 Latin American. They were coming from the UK, 3 people, France 2, Austria 2, USA 2, Hungary, Poland, Belarus, Canada, China, Sweden, Peru, Germany, Turkey, and South Africa. And it's a white South African author in that case. And the last black person to win the Nobel Prize for Literature was Toni Morrison in 1993. That was 28 years ago. So they desperately needed someone who was black. The last African author who won the Nobel Prize 33 years ago was the Egyptian poet Naguib Mahfouz. If you don't count Nadine Gordimer and Doris Lessing, 2 authors, 2 white authors, having lived in South Africa, but also in Britain as African authors. And the last black African author was 35 years ago, Wole Soyinka from, I think, Nigeria. So they desperately needed someone from Africa and someone who's black. And they chose Abdulrazak Gurnah, and I think they chose him. He's probably a great writer. I haven't read anything of him. Please tell me how great he is. But since the Nobel Prize of Literature always sort of seems to be some kind of world championship in literature, if that is even possible, to be a sort of a lifetime achievement world championship, because you cannot be too young, right? The youngest author to win a Nobel Prize in Literature ever was Rudyard Kipling. He won, I think, when he was 41 years old, but it never happened again that somebody as young as Rudyard Kipling won the prize again. So you have to be pretty old. I was looking at some African names. From Kenya, we could have had Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He's 83 years old. We could have had, but this would have been politically controversial. And I think the Swedish committee is scared of being political controversial. This could have been Tsitsi Dangarembga from Zimbabwe. And of course, but she's 62 years old, maybe a couple of years too young. And of course, we have the super young, but super talented and super loved Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie from Nigeria. She's 44 years old only. She has to wait at least 20 years to get the Nobel Prize here, right? So they chose Abdulrazak Gurnah, which is beautiful for him. He is sort of super in demand right now. I looked at the Stockholm Library. His books are in great demand there after he won the prize. If you want to borrow Afterlives from 2020 by Abdulrazak Gurnah here in Stockholm, you would be number 86 in the queue for 2 copies. If you want to borrow Gravel Heart, you would be number 52 in the queue for 1 copy, and Paradiuse 58 for 2 copies. So it takes like 43 months, that is almost 4 years almost, to get Afterlives for the person who is last in line right now at the Stockholm City Library. But people will lose interest, I promise. But this is really, like Steve Donoghue would probably say, the progressive stack who has chosen the prize. I would say. Even, I don't doubt that Abdulrazak Gurnah is a great author, but they needed someone, and this is so political, and I'm not really satisfied with the decision, honestly. Tell me all about your opinion. I know that sometimes I have very risky opinions and people don't like what I think, but please tell me, what do you think? You know, the nominations that I learned this year as well, the nominations, because they have different nominations, right, for this prize. They had other nominations apart from Abdulrazak Gurnah. They have nominations. There is a certain number of professors, literature professors all over the world, lots of them in Sweden, of course, who are eligible to nominate people to the Literature Nobel Prize each year. And there are professors in other parts of the world who can nominate people to the Literature Prize, to the committee. And there are also former laureates who can nominate people. But the nominations are super duper secret. Everything about the Nobel Prize is super duper secret. Because the nominations can be revealed to the public, yes, but after 50 years. We have to wait at least until 2071, when I'm going to be almost 110 years old. And then I would maybe know who else was nominated, if Tsitsi Dangarembga was nominated. But Tsitsi wouldn't know because she's probably as dead as I am in 2071. That's a pity, because the Pulitzer Prize, the Scandinavian countries actually stand for transparency and open information, right? We publish every information. We give information to the people because we think that the people have a right to know. That's the Scandinavian way. But not in the Nobel Prize Committee. No. Wait 50 years and then you get to know. And America, which is a very secretive country, which has a lot of secrets sometimes. America publishes, for example, the names and titles of the Pulitzer Prize nominations on the same day when the Pulitzer Prize is awarded. So we know who was nominated beside Louis Erdrich this year, but we don't know who was nominated beside Abdulrazak Gurnah. But now we know, and that's the latest nominations that I can tell you about, and I will do that now. We know now who was nominated for the Nobel Literature Prize in 1966, when Jeff Hurst scored that goal, which wasn't a goal against Germany in the World Cup finals in England in 1966, 55 years ago. Nominated for the Nobel Literature Prize were Anna Akhmatova from Russia, Jean Anouilh, France, W.H. Auden, Samuel Beckett, Jorge Luis Borges, E.M. Forster, Margaret Bernard, he was nominated, Max Frisch, Graham Greene, Erich Kästner, Alberto Moravia, Pablo Neruda, Vladimir Nabokov, and Ezra Pound, and many others. But the winners were the German-Swedish poet Nelly Sachs, who shared the prize with Shmuel Josef Agnon. That we know now 55 years later. So maybe, folks, in 2076, we wake up to a big surprise that Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie might have been nominated this year. Let's wait. That was everything about the prizes. And this video is getting longer and longer and longer. And I will have to end it because I just wanted to talk about another thing, a Netflix series that I watched this week, but I will talk about it later this week. We'll give you a little review and a little information about that, and also 1 or 2 books that might be connected to this series that I saw. This was all about awards. Please leave your comments down below what you think about the Nobel Prize, what you think about the Scotiabank Giller Prize, what you think about the National Book Award. and who your favorites are and who your favorites were. And then I will see you soon with a video where I do a single review about Nomadland by Jessica Bruder. This is going to be very interesting. Let's wait for that. Stay tuned to the channel, but most of all, stay safe and have a great week.